Hello class, this is Pam Stevens. I'm going to just go over some of the things that you should have gotten in your email. First of all, you got an agenda. It has my email here, and it has a web page that we're going to talk about sometime during the class. These are some things that we'll go over in the 3 days of class. You also received a list of some of the more common terminology that we're going to be using in the class. The other thing you received is something that I found on the internet. This is from customguide.com. It has some really good reference materials. I didn't make this and I'm not going to refer to it, but it's a good document for you to look at and refer to when it's talking about Windows 10. So those are some of the things that we're going to talk about, but we're going to start with the PowerPoint. Now I can send this to you in a PDF, and normally, of course, this is where you sit at a computer, but not today. So the things that we're going to learn in the 3 days of class are what things are called, where they're located, and how they're organized. Many of you are probably here to learn more about Windows 10 than just about computers. However, learning about computers is learning about the system and where things are located in the system, and since this is Windows 10, that's what you're going to learn, and also how they're organized. So again, even if you were very familiar with the Windows 7 or whatever you had before Windows 10, you still need to learn about how things are organized in the Windows 10 system. So it's like a dual thing. You're learning about computers and you're learning about Windows 10 at the same time. Okay, so what is a computer? It has 4 things: input, process, output, and storage. So when we talk about this, we talk about what kinds of things are a computer. Was an old dial phone a computer? Well, you could input something into it, it processed it, it produced an output, in other words, you could call somebody, but it didn't have any capability of storage. So the first time we had a phone, a cell phone, or any kind of a phone, even a landline that had the opportunity for storage, then it was a type of computer. So hardware for a computer, we're going to go through this pretty quickly, but this is just a video for you to review. Anything that you can physically touch is hardware. Any of these items, printers, mice, scanners, any of that. And normally they're called peripherals, so anything that you can attach to a computer would be called a peripheral. This is just kind of a fun little cartoon that I thought was fun for those of you who sit at computers a lot of the day like I do. Okay, these are also all types of peripherals that you have. Well, some of them, the monitor is usually not considered a peripheral, but it can be. So we'll talk about some of these more the storage devices more in depth later. Okay, any mobile device is something small enough to hold in your hand. So even the tablets, even though they're really not that small, they can be considered a mobile device. Software are things that you load onto your computer. Most computers come with some software, but you have to purchase other software. Microsoft Office, Skype is not one you have to purchase, but you have to download it. And the Accredimail that I have at the top, that was a mail system that was a free system that I downloaded, and I used to use that at one point in time until I was told that it can attract viruses, so I quit using it. Okay, understanding storage. So you have different types of storage. You have your hard drive. So let's see, your hard drive is what's in your computer. or your laptop. An external drive, you can purchase an external drive. Nowadays, you can get ones that'll hold terabytes worth of information, which is quite a bit. Anything that is a CD or a DVD drive, those are also hold information. The little scan discs or the little cards, the digital cards, are also external drives. And then, of course, you have your thumb drive or flash drive, or different people call them different things. These are actually, they look like keys, but they're actually thumb drives that keep information on them. This is the cloud explanation. So anytime you have a cloud, so all Apple devices have an iCloud. Nowadays, if you have a Hewlett-Packard, they have a Microsoft, most everything else has a Microsoft cloud. So you have the files from your laptop. It encrypts them and sends them to the cloud. In other words, it scrambles them where people can't read them. So then when you download them into another device, then it decrypts them, you see this, and puts them into another folder. So that's how kind of a quick thing on how a cloud works. Okay, operating systems. Excuse me. So you're in the Windows 10. Now, Windows OS stands for operating systems, okay? And Windows has gone through, Microsoft has gone through lots of different names, XP, 7, 8, 10. I don't know what happened to 9. They never had a Windows 9. Windows 10 is the current version. The Apple OS, okay, Apple and Mac are the same. I think that this has changed. It's not High Sierra. But you notice they use names of animals or mountain ranges or things like that for their operating system. There's a couple of other operating systems that some businesses use. So that's just the system. That's what makes the computer run. Every computer has to have some kind of operating system or it wouldn't work. You know, if your operating system gets corrupt, then pretty much you have to, redo the whole computer. Okay, so what you look at on your screen is called your desktop. And everything that is on your screen are called icons, depending on what they are. So if I minimize this, this is my desktop. Now, if you look at mine, I keep a pretty busy desktop. And computers are only organizational systems. Okay, now they do have apps on them or programs on them that help you to do things. But basically, you've got to think of a computer as an organizational system. And I know my system. Over here on the right-hand side, I keep things that I use constantly. Okay. On the left-hand side are things I don't use quite as often, but I know my own system. I've seen people where they have icons in their whole entire screen, and I don't see how they ever find anything. Of course, some people don't see how I find anything either. Okay, so that's the icons on the desktop. Okay, so you might see saved documents on your desktop. This is a Word document. This is a PDF. You all should see a trash can. Now, you can choose to not have that show on your desktop, but probably it does show. You can have a folder with things in it on your desktop. If you see a little blue arrow that looks like this, then what that is a shortcut. It might be to a document, it might be to a folder or a web page, but it's a shortcut. In other words, you can delete a shortcut and it doesn't delete whatever the thing is that's in your file. And we'll talk about that more later. Sometimes you can have a picture. This would be a picture of a phone or something that's on a desktop. And you should see, or I'll show you how to add this to your computer if you don't have it, but this will show you everything. When you open something that says this PC, it'll show you everything. So let me show you mine. Here's mine up here. It says this PC. So if I click on it, I see everything that's in all of my files. And all computers come with what I call file cabinets. I have a file cabinet with everything on my desktop. I have a file cabinet with all my documents. I have a file cabinet with everything I've downloaded from the internet. File cabinet with music, with pictures, and with videos. Now you can add file cabinets if you need them, but just think of this as your office and you have different things in your different file cabinets. And again, we'll talk about that more later on. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about mice. You have different kinds of mice. If you're using a laptop, you may have one of these, just a pad, a mouse pad, and you might have the right and left click buttons at the bottom, or you may not. Sometimes they're just smooth. Mine on my laptop is smooth, and I have to remember exactly where the right, well, I just go over to the right side and click. So this mouse right here, it doesn't look like it has a very definitive right and left side, but of course it is. Right and left side. And then this is a strange mouse. I've tried to use one of those and it's kind of weird for me. Okay, this is what a desktop will look like if you're using Windows 10 at some point. So we're gonna do some things. We're going to go to the Start button. We're going to look at the calculator, games, sticky notes, etc., etc. I think I'm going to stop the video here, and I'm going to start a second one so that you're not looking at something all day long.